topic today will be yoga as the path to a spiritual awakening. Well, let's start the lecture, as most people know that linguistically speaking, yoga means unity, and yoga is the union of all aspects of the individual, physical, mental and spiritual, to be in unity with himself and his environment. Undoubtedly, this harmony impacts physical, emotional, and mental health. As we all experience, yoga is an ancient practice that originated in India. There are records since 3000 BC and many styles, which vary according to the teacher. However, I think that each person practicing yoga perceives it in a particular way. Yoga is a conscientious experience that requires a lot of concentration and commitment to oneself, and yoga is complex and serious if each practitioner assumes it. Yoga is not a discipline that can only be studied or simply followed. It must be experienced and felt since, through this profound experience, the practice of conscious breathing is spiritualized. I try to share the practice of yoga as a path of spiritual teaching, which has nothing to do with the particular religion of those who decide to enter this wonderful world. That requires a lot of practice rather than theory, and yoga is 99% practice and 1% theory. From my practice, I can tell you that yoga saved me, has helped me overcome my fears, joys, and thoughts. Yoga has become my spiritual lifeline, and it makes me happy because it makes me aware of the here and now and the time of integration. While yoga begins with the work of the body, it leads you to the development of mindfulness, a deep and intense feeling of your own body, your mind when it is still, and your spirit when it is interconnected. I accomplished this harmonious and healthy state when these three elements were fused with the breath. I accomplished this union that takes you away from the anxieties of the uncertainty of the future and the frustrations of the past. Beyond what visually appears, yoga is self-knowledge. It is about preparing the physical body to reach the highest state of fullness of consciousness, known as samadhi. Obviously, experiencing this state requires a lot of practice and dedication. Now I want to touch on another essential point, which over 1,500 years ago has completely disappeared in India and has been neglected. The prince of the Sakya clan in northern India, now Nepal, through yoga and meditation. Siddhartha Gautama acquired supreme wisdom and founded a community with ethical behaviors and a foundation that would lead them to achieve the same level of life. Gautama argued that, through yoga, one was no longer under the conditional spell. Through yogic practice and ethical behavior, one could gain an advantage over one's karma and be free. Siddhartha was not a wandering, lazy yogi. He didn't just hang out in the shade of the ashram walls, smoking hashish and awaiting another bowl of rice and dal. He had deep spiritual ambitions. Sage Kalapa taught the coming Buddha a yogic practice that enabled him to finally enter a state of non-thingness. Through these new practices, the young spiritual player became intimately familiar with a form of neither consciousness nor unconsciousness. However, the relentless yogi's thirst for his awakening, also known as enlightenment, was not quenched. He was not convinced he had reached the spiritual plateau of a permanent uprising, and he picked up his begging bowl and moved on. When you look at a statue of Buddha, you get not only a glimpse of the form of the formless radiance of enlightenment, but also a glimpse of the inner yoga, the inner tantra of enlightenment. Buddha was a yogi both before and after he became an awakened one. Just see how beautifully he positions his lotus feet, holds his hands with mudra, and closes his eyes. A Mahayogi, a great yogi, no doubt. There are even stories of masters who spend years trying to perceive it and never achieve it. However, these stories should not discourage us. But on the contrary, they should encourage us to practice with determination and perseverance to advance each day and get closer to this state of tranquility as the enlightened yogi Siddhartha Gautama achieved it. Because of life circumstances, I have guided individual and group yoga practices for several years. It fills me with great satisfaction to share that state of stillness, joy, and physical, mental, and spiritual well-being with those also entering the practice. They may look for a door that leads them to their inner self without being aware. As one of my mentors in India once said, yoga is nothing more than a wonderful way to get through our door of self to the condition of supreme awakening, or enlightenment. Namaste. Lynn Henderson. Till next Yoga History online class.